The kidneys are the master controller of manifestation. I fully believe that if you had super strength within, we'll think the negative element, you could just think an apple into existence because you have so much manifestation ability. And even if you didn't, if you didn't believe in magic or whatever, you'd be one of those people that just thinks of an apple and then they just randomly find an apple tree, or someone just hands them an apple. We'll probably know people who are seemingly too good at making money or getting objects, getting like, people just give them land or houses or cars or whatever, and they just have this super easy life physically. As I said, the kidneys are the major organ for the negative element, and the heart is the opposite element, is the opposite organ for the positive element. You may remember maybe in like schooling when there was that one kid who was a stubborn piece of shit, absolute cunt, just you couldn't have a good conversation with them. They were just always a dickhead, but for some reason they always won. They always got out of trouble maybe, or they just never got into trouble at all. For some reason they just coasted through life, Life was easy for them. Maybe in relationships, you can remember back in like to high school or whatever, if you're a guy, there was that one guy who could just get any woman he wants. He was an absolute piece of shit. Everyone knew he was a piece of shit. The women knew he was a piece of shit. The men did. But for some reason, he got the prettiest woman, or he got the kindest, the nicest woman. Or if you're a woman, maybe you remember a woman who was a bitch, rotten to the core. And for some reason, she got that one guy that's, a genuinely good guy. Chances are now that man's worked like a slave and he wants to kill himself. But, back in the day, he was charmed. There are people in this world, they are kind of like turbo NPCs and they get through life easily. And the reason being is because of their yin force. Their negative energy, their negative organs is incredibly strong. These are the people that commit crimes, that commit moral evils and get away with it. These are the people that make you question karma. Now, there are good qualities of the negative energy. The evil qualities, of course, is evil itself, because evil is related to negative force. Not to say positive force doesn't have its own evil side. The negative, the kidneys, is related to the pig. The pig has an extremely large set of kidneys. If you look at pig kidneys, they're very large. The organs in general on a pig is very large. The ability for a pig to grow its body is very easy. If you give it enough food and space, it will grow very big. Now, pig, it nuts a lot. To be a little crude, it comes immensely. You can look that up as well if you want. The reason why I'm saying it is important. The testicles and ovaries are the miniature kidneys. Of course, these are the controllers of the masculine and feminine energies of the testosterone and estrogen and such within the body. Women have a few different hormones. You can look that up as well. So yes, the pig nuts a lot. Now, the pig is also very greedy and gluttonous. They can be nice creatures as well. Apparently they can be nice pets. They can be very friendly. They can be fairly intelligent as well. The pig has a great ability to build muscle. If you buy a leg of ham And even if you buy the thigh, the entire leg or the entire shoulder of a pig, it is ginormous, depending on the pig, of course, but it is quite big. They have a lot of fat as well. So if a man is trying to build muscle, or even if a woman, maybe she's trying to build up her body as well, like she doesn't have enough. Women who don't have enough matter cannot get pregnant, for example. It will rely on the negative, this idea of anabolic and catabolic. The anabolism, I believe, or anabolic is building, it's rest, it's sleep, it's relaxation. And then catabolism is eating up of the muscle, eating up of the body. And of course, they're both necessary forces. If you play the Toho games, patchouli knowledge is relating to the negative, the kidneys, because she is very intelligent. She is a bit of a hikikomori or a shut-in. She reads a lot. Reading, the ability to sit and to read and to understand books is relating to this. Your ability to do intellectual things like mathematics, programming, language, etc. is related to this. People who cannot sit still, cannot relax, cannot do this. If they have weak kidneys, they will have that. Anxiety, social anxieties, physical weakness, the inability for the physical body to grow, reproductive issues, a lack of moisture in the body, for example. These all relate to a problem with the negative element, and specifically also the kidneys, because they are the root, the master controller of the negative, as the heart is of the positive. Resting, alcohol, meat, food in general, any kind of yin or negative or earthly or watery herb or mineral, these can all help. If you exercise and then rest and build up from that, that is good. The more money you have, the more physically wealthy, land and such you have, the more possessions you have, the greater the force of the kidneys. These things can all help that. And if you are a man specifically, having a woman, a wife will help you. Women usually inherently have a stronger force of the kidneys. That is why, for example, in society, a woman has an easier time getting a job and making money and finding housing and such, because they are more related to that element. They are more stable and kind of relaxed in that sense. While a man, because he is related to the positive element, will be less stable in that society and less aligned to it. If you look at something, for example, like a spectrum disorder, a kind of mild autism, like an Asperger's disorder, this relates a lot to the kidneys and an excess of it to some extent, though it can depend. It's just like an excess of the heart energy can relate to the schizophrenia, which, if you have the schizophrenia autism duality, so to speak. It's like the artist and the scientist, this kind of duality. So if you looked at, for example, cultural ideas of masculinity and what boys are given, the color dark blue, for example, is related to men, which is related to the kidneys, black and blue. Things like physical objects like cars, trucks, airplanes, etc. The idea of fixing things, this is shown in children's cartoons for boys. Boys are led into a way of, being builders, fixing things, making stuff, gaining resources, etc. These are all related things to the negative element and the kidneys. And it's ironic because these are all negative things which are feminine. Dark blue and black is a feminine color. To construct, to gain resource is feminine in nature. Physical objects are feminine. while reds and pinks, which were related to women, lighter colors, pastels, are actually masculine. So we have this, everything, of course, the yin yang has yang has yin within it, yin has yang within it. So everything is like zigzagging or opposites when it comes to positive and negative. Of course, the world wouldn't function if, women were given men's tasks and men were given women's tasks. It just wouldn't work. So, there is that interesting element. But of course, why exactly is it that, go back to the original point, why exactly is it that your ability to manifest physically, which essentially means to physically create, to physically actualize, to do things physically and make things, why is it that your ability to turn a dream, a thought, an idea into something tangible and material is related to the kidneys and the negative force? It's because you can have all of the energy, all of the imagination, the inspiration in the world, which relates to the heart. You have all the heart force in the world that you want, and it doesn't matter, because you will make mistakes. You will not understand the patterns of life. You will not understand how to structure things. We've all probably seen an artist who is too artistic. Their work is too abstract, it's too weird, it's too different. Maybe they didn't finish most of their projects. Maybe they never started any projects. They were too much of a genius that only internally did they do anything. The kidneys allow for you to have stamina and endurance. It is not the person who is a genius, who is amazing, who thinks great ideas and says beautiful words that wins. It is the person that does. Because they are the only person who did. The stubborn person at school was not punished. They got into no trouble. No one was able to stand up to them because they simply were like a rock. Nothing would work against them. At some point they were too stupid. People who do evil and are not punished because simply it is difficult to punish them. You need a greater force to punish them, which, if there is, then they will get punished, but otherwise they won't. It's the same way that if there is an evil person in the village and they do what they want, they take all the chickens from the peasants. They take the women, etc. They force everyone to be their little slave. If no one is stronger, is greater than them, then they will simply just win. Because that is a fundamental principle of life. And the kidney force, the yin force, the stronger you have of this, will be the more dominant you are in physical life. You will be able to stand up to that evil person, because you will have more physical ability. If you struggle, you do 10 times work and you gain 1 times results. You have weak kidneys, weak yin force. If you do 1 times work and you gain 10 times results, you probably have strong kidneys. Strong yin. The boomer generation is a perfect example of, they are the Saturn in Libra generation astrologically, which means, it relates again to these organs. It is ultimate stability, ultimate, earthly focus in the Libra, which is the kidneys. So from this, we can understand a lot of things. How do you fix them? As I said, good food, sleep, rest, etc. The more of like a lustful pig, it's why you see degenerates. For some reason, they get to be physically rewarded. Though I don't think you should be a pig or a degenerate or anything like that. Of course, you need to eat and you need to rest and all this stuff. You can do exercises specifically for the back. Any kind of exercise for the back, especially the lower back, is very good. Leg exercises is also good. Training the mind, the brain is good through language, programming, whatever, maths, mathematics, etc. Any kind of stamina-based work. And if you want to, of course, you can just focus on the kidney organ and the back, the mid-back region, the kind of Ming Men. That's another good acupoint. You can just focus there and tonify it through focusing on that point, that area, and that will help you out. So, if you've ever wondered why seemingly evil people are rewarded physically, it's because their deity, their guardian force is negative. Kind of sucks. We want the good guys to win. We don't want evil to reign, because that's not good for anyone. So we need to learn these arts. We need to learn the physical world, get resources, become strong, all that kind of stuff, so that the good people can rule and win and all that. And spiritual people, specifically intellectual people as well, are usually very positively natured. Artists, these people are all very positively natured. You don't see many artists with a house or land or property or anything. Maybe back in the day when things were cheap, but nowadays, they're homeless or living with their parents or share housing or something. That's why. Because they do not have strong negative force. Unless they're like a very negatively orientated artist and they're just good, they're like a good businessman. That's when you notice if an artist is making money, they're probably a better businessman. You're better negatively orientated than they are positively orientated. It's kind of how you have to be to make money in, a lot of fields, especially a lot of positive fields. It's like the idea of information. You write reference books or something, or whatever, story books. People don't really buy that stuff, so you have to be good at marketing it. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and of course, have a good day. And check the links in the description if you're interested. And goodbye.